Music to my ears to hear we are finally on the way out of all this.
You and about 3 million other people who live in Western Oregon. Yeah, for sure. It's been a long run. In fact, very rare air, and I mean that literally and figuratively. I'll show you what I mean in just a second with that. We'll start you out with this, though. Downtown Portland, it is 81 degrees, and that is cooler than it was at this time last night. I actually noticed that when I stepped outside a bit ago. About 5 degrees cooler than we were at this time last night. We made 103, though, again today. Second day in a row we've done that. And the stretch of 100-degree days is going to come to an end, and it should be coming to an end tomorrow. But some pretty interesting records have been set. First of all, let's look at the years that we've had 4 straight days over 100 degrees, because that's what we accomplished today. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 straight days, right? That's only happened 2 other times in Portland's weather record, which go back to 1938. Happened in July 1941, August of 1981, we had 5 straight 100-degree days, and this year, 4. So think about that. It's only happened 3 times, and this was one of them. That's really remarkable. The other thing that I discovered looking at the records is this. I looked at the number of days, all told, all of them, with low temperatures of 70 degrees or higher. Going back to 1938 to 1920, that 82-year period, there were 8 of them. You know how many we've had in the last 2 years? 8. That is really remarkable to think that we've done in 2 years what took 82 years prior to that in terms of warm nights with lows in the 70s, which is what we did again last night. Now, look at the satellite imagery. Clouds to the south, smoke here, right? These are thunderstorms. Didn't provide us with a whole lot of rain. There were lightning strikes. And I've got a really interesting perspective on this, too. This is video from the International Space Station. That is the Oregon coast. A little bit of fog this morning. It's going to fly over the fires, and you'll see how smoky it looks there. This is the perspective from, the space station is a couple hundred miles up as it flew over Oregon during the day today. That's the Willamette Valley right there. And then here comes all that smoke from the Bedrock Fire and from the other fire burning in the Willamette National Forest. Then you get into the Three Sisters. You can see the peaks here and then the clouds building there. But again, that's what the smoke looked like if you were on the International Space Station flying over the Northwest during the day today. There are the thunderstorms. There are the 2 fires that we talked about. Again, not a lot of rain, and the storms have really backed off as they do in the evening hours. Now, looking south from our Skycam at Timberline Lodge in the Mount Hood National Forest, you can see the smoke and the cloud that was there. That should the cloud should get a little farther north tomorrow and should also help to put a bit of a lid on our temperatures and keep us below 100. So cloud cover, and then just simply the hot air mass that's been over us is breaking up, and we're going to just get cooler temperatures coming in aloft. And then tomorrow night, we get a surge of that cooler coastal air to really put an end to the hot weather. This is Tropical Storm Hillary, which is gearing up and should become a hurricane as soon as tomorrow as it moves to the west of Baja. Why do we major hurricanes, as a matter of fact? What's interesting about Hillary is its potential path into Southern California. Now, this path a little bit farther east than it was earlier in the day, maybe a tropical storm, maybe a hurricane. This is likely going to change. But what's interesting about this is, and here's a path from one of our models showing it staying offshore of Southern California. What's interesting about this is it may bring a lot of rain, not only to California, but maybe even into Oregon next week as the remnants of that system move north, which is one of the reasons why we see an above average precipitation bullseye over the western United States over the next 6 to 10 days, which is rare for this time of the year. And in fact, our modeling shows as much as 3/4 of an inch of rain, parts of eastern Oregon, maybe a couple tenths here in Portland from a tropical system from Mexico, which is pretty unusual. Okay, clouds, yes, scattered high clouds tomorrow from those storms. Then the marine layer moves in tomorrow night, and we'll get much cooler weather on Friday. 81 right now, should top out around 81 on Friday, as a matter of fact. But tomorrow, we'll still be in the 90s. Not as hot tomorrow. Warm overnight, though, about 94, 95. Then down to 82 on Friday. We may pop to 91 on Sunday, David, but then back down into the 80s after that.
80s sound great. Thank you, Matt. Have a good night. Still to come, strangers transformed into everlasting friends. How a special bond was forged among a group of dog lovers. It's Pacific Storyland, and it's next.